were born with ovaries, you bleed every month, you have XX chromosomes. Yeah, that's cute. Tell me what other external factor that doesn't apply to all of you defines you.
People are really out here saying that trans Chuchi is the inferior product. I'm sorry. We have the designer, expensive, bougie coochie. Like, you're telling me if someone says, would you like this free paper bag that came with my groceries, or would you like this $35,000 bag? You're taking the designer Birkin, babe.
Today we're going to talk about the reasons and the benefits of dating a transgender woman and why we are probably most likely, I don't want to be biased, but why we're probably most likely a better candidate dating than, like, you know, your average bish.
Day 12 of being a girl, and we're gonna go buy tampons. This thing does not go up inside you. Like, where does that go? Oh my god, what the hell?
I did a brand deal for tampons. This was 2020, and this is me dancing around. That's a major national brand paid me to make this ad for them.
Who's ready to get canceled? As usual, this guy. Let's get into this video. So as you saw from the intro, I'm going to be talking about a very controversial topic. Not controversial for me, because to me it's just a no-brainer, but controversial for the woke. If you're easily offended, just FYI, you're going to be even more offended by this video. So as you saw from the intro, I wanted to show you guys a compilation of what I've been seeing a whole lot all over social media, whether it be TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, here on YouTube, Instagram. And it's this influx of trans women, biological men who identify as women, coming into female spaces and pretty much demanding respect and having a very I'm better than you type of attitude when it comes to biological women. Women who were born female, who have been living their lives as female their entire life. And it got me wondering and thinking, why don't we see this on the opposite end of the spectrum? Why don't we see biological women who identify as men, aka trans men, coming into the biological male space and having the same attitude that we see from trans women? Why don't we see trans men coming in and making videos talking about how they're better, they are an upgrade from biological men? Like, we don't see that type of demeanor anywhere, but we see it time and time again from trans women who seem to have this feeling of, you're gonna respect me and you're gonna shut up and do it. It just got me wondering, where does that entitlement come from? Could it be that these trans women at the end of the day are still biological men in the mind, and they're reflecting their patriarchy to biological women by coming into their spaces and pretty much telling them what the rules are now? We'll take it from here, thank you, you can sit down. I don't know about you, but that's what I see over and over and over again. And I want to address it in this video in different parts. I think it's too important not to talk about. To me, it's the erasure of women, and it's growing. We see it in sports, we see it in music, we see it in politics, we see it in the business world. It's everywhere. Exhibit A, Tampon Gate. Now, as silly as this sounds, bear with me. So Tampon Gate pretty much happened when Dylan Mulvaney, a very famous TikToker who is a trans activist and trans woman, decided to make a video about how they like to pretty much stock on tampons so that they can give them out to random women in the bathroom and on the streets and just be an ally for women by getting them tampons. With that also came an influx of other trans women who I guess wanted to get in on the action, I don't know, and started posting about how they're allies as well by buying tampons for women. But the way that it came across for a lot of people, including biological women, was that these biological men were making a mockery of their menstrual cycles. Something that is very sacred and personal to biological women was now being pushed on the forefront by biological men, which is something that biological women did not ask for.
I think these are like little dots to see how much you flow, is what somebody said online. The thing does not go up inside you. Like, where does that go? It just hangs out inside you? The string go. I bought tampons because I've never bought them before.
And it sort of became more of a joke in a way, and almost like a parody. Like, what is going on here? And then you also had Tampax literally sending free products to these biological men, and in the case of Jeffrey Marsh, paying him to do a campaign for Tampax, a biological man who will never know what it feels like to get their period. Even if the intentions was not to cause harm, it still caused harm to a lot of biological women. And so you would think that these biological men would say, you know what, my bad. What happened was you had people like Dylan Mulvaney and Grant who pretty much scolded biological women and told them that if you were affected in a negative way by us waving around tampons, then you are closed-minded and you are transphobic.
No need to bring Tampax into this. The bigger problem at hand is that you feel me carrying a tampon around is a threat to you and your womanhood. A trans woman does it, and all of a sudden I'm the reason that there's a tampon shortage. You know, it's not because I'm misogynistic, it's because you're transphobic.
I didn't make that video to mock women or make fun of periods. If you think that, then there's nothing left for you. You're just transphobic, and I hope that one day you're able to come around.
And you are the problem, not me, it's you. But again, it just has this feeling of like a patriarchy, I know that I'm a female right now, but don't get it twisted. You're not above me. Like, know your place. I mean, how do you justify that? And that to me is a perfect example of the patriarchy showing its ugly head in female spaces. That's just one example that I've seen. Let's go over some more. The entertainment industry, also known as Holly Weird.
And the Brit Awards were made gender neutral after Sam Smith, the singer, complained that non-binary artists such as themselves were excluded. Now them and they are complaining that the gender neutral awards didn't feature enough women. I'm starting to think that there's no way to make these pronoun people happy.
This is the story. Sam Smith thinks it's a shame there are no women nominated for Best Artist at this year's Brit Awards. The non-binary songwriter was one of the first musicians to call for the abolishment of gender categories. It discriminates against women straight away.
Yeah,
again.
well, it does seem to be impossible to make. I mean, we've seen Owen Jones, Sam Smith, these people come out and say they demanded a non-binary Brit Awards, and then they were given a non-binary Brit Awards, and then they're like, oh, there's not enough women in it. It's like, well, then we'll have binary sections, and then we're back to where, I mean, what is going to make them happy?
They want us to get rid of the binary. So that's exactly what happened. And Sam Smith wasn't happy about that, because at the end of the day, it turns out that you actually do need categories. So you eradicate gender from the equation, and then when women are affected by it, because oftentimes with this gender movement, it's biological women who have to pay the price. I said it. And that's exactly what happened here. No female was nominated. And you know what, Sam Smith? You got exactly what you wanted. See, at the end of the day, when you try to take away the uniqueness of women and men, and you say that we're all just the same and there's no differences, what you're doing is you're taking away the opportunities from women, because they're the ones that end up paying the price more so than anything else, because men naturally do dominate in most areas, which is why you need categories for women, to give them their space, to give them their light, to give them their shine, because they deserve it as well. But when you take that away, what you see is male dominance, and then you get mad at male dominance, and you say it's the patriarchy. No, it's you. It's you trying to redefine categories that would just fine the way that they were. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis is another great example. So Jamie Lee Curtis recently won an Oscar, and she was asked some questions about female representation in Hollywood. And here's what she said.
There are 65 women this year nominated for Academy Awards across various disciplines. How does it feel for you to be amongst that number?
Obviously, I would like to see a lot more women be nominated so that there's gender parity in all the areas and all the branches, and I think we're getting there. We're not anywhere near there. And of course, the inclusivity then that involves the bigger question, which is, how do you include everyone when there are binary choices, which is very difficult. I completely understand that. And yet, to degender the category also, I'm concerned, will diminish the opportunities for more women, which is something I also have been working hard to try to promote. So it's a complicated question, but I think the most important thing is inclusivity and more women. I mean, basically just more women anywhere, anytime, all at once.
This clip is pure comedy gold. So you have Jamie Lee Curtis trying to be as inclusive as possible and walking a tightrope of political correctness because she's so afraid of possibly offending the trans community and the gender ideology movement. So she wants to be inclusive, right? She's saying, yes, let's do gender neutral categories. Let's involve trans people in every single category and give them their due. But at the same time, she's also admitting that there is a deficit when it comes to females in Hollywood and getting recognition and having opportunities. So let's not forget about them either. Please, please. You can't do both. You can't have it both ways, right? But she's so afraid of being offensive to the woke ideology movement that she kind of just concedes, but then also admits that there's a deficit when it comes to female representation in Hollywood. It's almost as though in order to be accepted in society and to be given the green light, you as a woman must bow down to trans women and you must give them their due respect. In the same way that Drew Barrymore literally got on her knees to Dylan Mulvaney when she interviewed him this week.
You. Oh, please. Do you want to know, ironically?
I mean, this stuff writes itself at this point. Another crucial area, women's sports. Now, I did a full video really deep diving into the whole concept of trans women and women's sports and why I think it is a bad idea. If you want to check out that video, please go ahead and check that out because I definitely go into heavy detail about it. But I do want to touch upon it just a little bit in this video as well because it also plays a role, in my opinion, of the erasure of women and the patriarchy of biological men taking over.
History has been made.
This transgender weightlifter competed in the Olympics. Transgender women, people born male but who identify as female, are winning many competitions,
dominating the state's girls' track meets.
Some women are upset about that.
Why do I have to compete against a male body?
Leah Schneeberger is a mountain bike racer. She won this race 3 years in a row. But then a former men's cyclist transitioned and competed as a woman. Now that person wins.
How did this happen?
It's going to be Telfer.
After Cece Telfer won this race, she said,
"As a trans athlete, I'm not a threat to women's sports because I am a woman."
But Telfer ranked 390th best competing as a man.
I have to admit, I am somewhat at a loss to explain it.
But what about combat sports?
Fox to the knees, and that's it.
Trans woman Fallon Fox won most of her fights. She broke this woman's orbital bone. Later she said, "I've never felt the strength as I did that night."
Doesn't seem fair.
But most stay silent.
Because every time we try to voice it, we get told to be quiet.
I don't get this being silent stuff. I would think if you feel you're being treated unfairly, you'd speak up.
They are being told they need to stay silent or else they're going to lose their spot on a team. They're going to lose sponsorship opportunities. They're going to be called a bigot.
Currently, most states, supported by the Biden administration, allow trans students to compete even without hormone therapy.
Women athletes cannot speak up because when they speak up about this issue, they get canceled immediately. They lose their scholarships, they lose their sponsorships, they lose their livelihood, they lose their careers. You know, just this week, a high school basketball team in Vermont were banned from ever playing because they refused to play against a team that had a transgendered athlete on the team.
We withdrew from the tournament because we believe playing against an opponent with a biological male jeopardizes the fairness of the game and the safety of our players. She continues, quote, "Allowing biological males to participate in women's sports sets a bad precedent for the future of women's sports in general."
A private religious school banned from all state-run activities and athletics with other schools in Vermont.
Today, the Vermont Principals Association issued a letter to Mid-Vermont Christian School announcing the decision after the girls' basketball team refused to play against an opponent with a transgender student athlete.
There was going to be an unfair advantage based on this athlete's physical stature, but of course, just saying that and speaking truth got them in trouble. I mean, again, the same thing happened in Tampon Gate, right? You had women speaking out and they were scolded for it. Because one thing you cannot do is offend the biological male who identifies as a woman. We see it in feminism as well. Feminism used to be about the equality of sexes, that men and women were equal and should have the same equal opportunities. And now what feminism has become is white liberal women uplifting biological men who want to identify as women and yelling and screaming at biological women who do not agree or subscribe to that ideology. That is feminism today, uplifting the patriarchy. Congratulations, women. You're erasing yourselves. If you enjoyed this content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I just hit 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so I'm super excited about that. Thank you guys so much for your love and your support. Also, follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, where I am being continuously canceled every single freaking day just for you. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this topic and what other topics you would like me to discuss. Until next time, peace.